supremacist slogans and making a Nazi salute. Bystanders intervened and ordered him to leave. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Baja Fresh on Thursday, April 2nd for National
History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 26 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrima. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA, Talk 1580, download the app.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your guest host. Really delighted to be here standing in for our friend and our brother, the Jesse Jackson Jr. We're in touch, and so you stay in touch. Be sure to follow us on all the social media platforms. You can follow me at Dr. Nicordelai. Just type in Dr. Niq, DRNIIQ, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to follow KBLA 1580. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram and on X and all the platforms. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe. Subscribe to the KBLA YouTube channel. That way you don't just get to hear us, but you get to see us in action. And even more than that, you get to jump in the group chat and sound off on news of the day. I'm really delighted to be in conversation with a number of extraordinary leaders on the front line. Let me just give you a sense of where we're going to go with the show today. In our second hour, you can expect for us to go even deeper into the headlines with Reverend Teresa Hord Owens. She'll be joining us. You might know her as the General Minister and President of the Christian Church in the United States and Canada. We'll be talking with her in short order about a lot of these headlines, some pretty disturbing headlines in the news. But in this first hour, I'm really delighted to welcome back to the show someone who's no stranger to the show, Ernest Krim III. He is joining us today, and let me just tell you that I have enjoyed my conversations here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show with Ernest, who's an Emmy-nominated producer, Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Vanguard Award winner. He's a public educator. And a lot of folks think of him as a modern-day griot and cultural competency specialist. He's a former public school history teacher. We love teachers here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We love teachers here on KBLA. And he is a very well-recognized teacher who is now the CEO of Crims Cultural Consulting, where he helps schools and organizations and communities bridge cultural divides, bridge them through teaching overlooked historical narratives. Wow, there's no time like the present for this kind of work and witness. His work reaches millions online, challenging mainstream historical narratives and centering Black resilience and innovation. He is himself a survivor of viral hate crimes and has turned that personal pain into purpose, and not just any purpose, public purpose. I am delighted to welcome this South Side Chicago native to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Welcome, Ernest.
Hey, what's up, Dr. Cortez? Good to be here with you again, moving forward.
That's right. It's good to be here with you as well. Look, I'm sure you woke up as I did to another batch, I guess the latest installment of disturbing headlines. This morning, I was in conversation with a few sources about the situation at a number of U.S. airports across the country, including O'Hare Airport near you. But so many airports across the country, it seems that hundreds of TSA agents have called out. We know that Republicans keep failing to vote on a bill to pay TSA workers. And we know that as of this morning, according to a reliable source, 60 ICE agents were deployed and standing around really in two terminals at Newark Airport today. There's apparently a power struggle that exists between Tom Homan, who is leading ICE at the moment, and Secretary Tom Duffy of the U.S. Department of Transportation. We know that ICE agents are being asked to do a job that they are not trained for. Yet again, ICE agents have been deployed across the country to police our fellow Americans, all in the name of mass deportation, this mass deportation campaign. Well, their job description just got a little longer, but it's less clear. And that's not the only thing. What about our safety? How safe are we? At a time when our nation is at war in Iran, and where the list of foreign adversaries seems to be growing by the day, is this the time to have this kind of confusion at major points of entry like airports across the country? These are all questions that need answers, and we got the right one. More with Mr. Ernest Krim when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me.
This March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable, all month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we're your girls. Won't you know that we love you? Febreze.
New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the need. Come on and talk with me.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And I'm delighted to be in conversation with Brother Ernest Krim III. He is our special guest this hour, Emmy-nominated producer, Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Vanguard Award winner, and a public educator to really lend his ability to put this moment in its proper historical context. He is a former public school history teacher, and he's now the CEO of Krim's Cultural Consulting, where he helps organizations bridge the cultural divide between teaching overlooked historical narratives. Brother Krim, let's start there. I want to give you an opportunity to, place this moment in its proper historical context. We all woke up this morning to headlines swirling about some of the chaos across the country at U.S. airports. ICE has been given another duty. It is unclear what their mission is, but they have popped up en masse at airports across the country. As I shared moments ago, a very reliable source had shared that about 60 ICE agents as of this morning have been deployed to 2 terminals at Newark Airport in New Jersey. We know that there's an ICE contingent at O'Hare Airport, not very far from where you are in Chicago. ICE has been on mass deportation duty. And there were a number of folks who said when they got that assignment that ICE ain't trained to police people. They're not trained like the local police, and we still got issues with how the local police are trained, right? And so that's part of the reason why DHS has not received its funding yet, because Republicans have been so stubborn about embracing any reforms to how ICE does business. And so in the midst of that chaos happening on Capitol Hill, the chaos that we have seen in cities across the country with ICE leading this mass deportation campaign, and now the chaos that we're seeing in our nation's airports, put this moment in its proper historical context, because it seems to me we've been here before.
Yeah, for sure, Dr. Corte. I think it's important for folks to keep in mind, especially as Black people in this country, everything that we are seeing unfold with this administration and even the last term are things that we have experienced historically in this country. I want to remind people that Black folks have existed in this country without full citizenship and rights. longer than they have with. So when we see this idea of ICE agents presumably getting ready to harass people at airports and things of that nature, let's remember that the Fourth Amendment, which is supposed to protect against this, was never fully implemented with us. We still have people, I'm sure, fighting cases in the New York area over stop and frisk. We've had issues like that in Chicago. There have been issues like that, of course, in LA. LAPD is notorious for that. So I want to remind people of that right there, and let's keep that at the top of our mind as we deal with this. And also, too, let's understand, because if I was in a class right now, I would have to make sure that I always reference back to previous time periods so that our kids can see these connections. We might call it synthesizing. And race, the construction of race and racism has been used in this country as a form of distraction so that the minority, the real minority who rest at the top of the economic ladder, can continue to engage in the corruption that they engage in. Let's just keep in mind, in the midst of all of this, I saw a video recently of Trump. I think he put a Columbus statue somewhere in DC, right? This is fairly new, so I haven't read a lot about it, but I did see the image of a Columbus statue. And again, we're not even, besides the fact that we know what Columbus is, what he represents as a genocidal maniac, that is very intentional. We understand what that symbol represents. Again, this divide and conquer strategy, y'all. We can go back into the 1640s with the John Punch case, the 1670s with Bacon's Rebellion, when things are starting to get, when people who are feeling the pressure the most begin to unite in some way and realize they're all being played, this is when the distractions come. This is intentional. He understands. And he also understands that he does not have to deal with it at all, because he's not taking these airports and things like that. So what I think the American public, and especially Black folks, have to realize now is that this is all a part of the program. But we have to be rest assured that this is something that was preventable. And this is something that is preventable. Again, the historical context in mind, what does it mean for us to avoid the distractions he's putting forth towards us and keep our eye on the prize? I think we have to make sure that we are in touch with folks who are aware of the law in this situation historically, because again, we know that when it comes to the Fourth Amendment and when it comes to people who are supposed to be law enforcement, that can sometimes be deadly with us. If I'm traveling, and thank God I don't have to travel anytime soon, and I see this and I juxtapose that to what happened in Minnesota, then I juxtapose that to what has happened historically in LA, New York, Chicago, right? I don't feel safe in this moment. So for Black people, let's remember we've been here not just as a way to say, look, we know what's going to happen, but as a reminder of what we might have to do moving forward. Because as we can see, the mindset of those like Trump who are implementing these policies hasn't changed much since this has been implemented historically.
I want to follow up on your raising the statue of Christopher Columbus. And for our viewers and listeners who are less familiar, CNN is now reporting that the statue of Christopher Columbus was installed on the White House grounds. Yes, a statue of Christopher Columbus has been erected outside of an ornate federal office building on the White House grounds, the latest sign, of course, of the Trump administration's efforts to reshape cultural and historical representations across the nation's capital. The installation of the statue reportedly, it's a replica of one that was toppled in Baltimore during the racial justice protests in 2020. It occurred over the weekend, and it's outside the Eisenhower Executive Office building. I, walk past that building often when I'm on the White House grounds, and it's a very powerful signal that this a replica of a statue that was toppled in Baltimore during racial justice protests in 2020 has found its way to the White House grounds. And so, I want to, again, flashing forward to this moment, let's talk about how the growing job description of ICE agents, the growing list of assignments for ICE agents across the country, how that alone is also reshaping our culture. Isn't it desensitizing us to what living under militarization, what that feels like, what that looks like day to day?
Oh, of course. And this is a hallmark of a tyrannical lunatic, right? This is like ignore what we see, ignore the data, ignore the economic issues we're in that are going to presumably get worse with this administration. Ignore what your eyes are showing you, ignore what you feel, and tell them that no, 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 the real threat is them still. They can always hark back to that. That is what they do. That is what a lot of presidents and politicians have done. As they continue to profit off this, is no, that person next to you, your neighbor, that person across town is the real enemy. And this is, to me, we're way beyond dog whistle territory. This is referee whistle territory. This is the bad officiating we've seen in some games over the weekend with the tournament, right? This ain't nobody he ain't trying to be covert about it anymore, man. This is just like, look, we're in the midst of this, besides the fact that he's redesigning the West Wing and everything, it's like, let me put a statue here of somebody we know. But I want people who are listening to also understand this. We just got finished with St. Patrick's Day, right? Then we also understand what Columbus represents as an Italian American. These are two groups of Europeans who historically were not accepted into whiteness initially. And that's not something that's often taught in school. We talk about Italians and Irish folks who face discrimination from Western Europeans rampantly, right? So if people can just for a second zoom out and see what that big picture looks like, it's the same thing happening again. And of course, statistically, if we're talking as a whole, the people in these rural towns in many of these states that don't have a lot of black folks who by and large supported him, they are suffering right now. But again, the question is, will you care enough? And the idea in his mindset is, I can stir up dissension enough because I know you have been trained to align yourself with race as opposed to economics. And what I really truly mean with that is with a racist mindset above your economics. What we're seeing at the gas pump, I would imagine in the LA region and California in general, is just outrageous. And again, y'all, these are things that are preventable. Can you imagine trying to fly somewhere for a business trip right now, or fly somewhere for an emergency right now? This is all chaos that has been calculated intentionally.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And you would think that, you know, when it comes to public safety, for example, that is an issue that whether you are a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, right? We all care about public safety. We all need energy prices to be reasonable, to keep costs as reasonable as possible. And so people are not just feeling the pain at the gas pump. You know, people are feeling the pain and will soon feel the pain when it comes to buying a whole host of products, right? You know, there's only so much shock that businesses can absorb without passing it on to consumers. And so really, you know, it begs the question, you know, for folks left, right, and center, right? You know, how much pain are you willing to endure? How much pain are you willing to endure in your pocketbook? All because you're so, you know, caught up in the racial boogeyman that this president and this administration seems to be successfully employing as a wedge when it comes to communities uniting around common sense, communities uniting around law and order. What happened to all the law and order people? What happened to them? Right?
Exactly.
The law and order people, they have turned in their law and order street cred for lawlessness street cred.
Yeah, and I think too, as you're talking, I'm reflecting on the fact that, you know, for those of us listening in right now, I'm sure many can go back to a time when TSA didn't even exist at our airports, you know, like when it seems so long ago. It seems so long ago.
It's so interesting. You say it seems so long ago. And for the people who are streaming, I got more salt and pepper than Ernest. Ernest ain't got no salt. He got all pepper, but he remembers way back when. So please continue.
Wait, well, part of it is I know my audience, but also too, I was a teenager when it shifted. I remember a little bit, not that much, but a little bit.
Okay.
But I do recall that drastic shift though, in terms of the hysteria right around 9/11 and what happened after that. And when I began to teach too, I want people to really understand, like, because as an educator who taught social studies and I taught history and government and things like that, I in many ways serve as that bridge to what our kids can learn about the rights or supposed rights they have in this country. And for me too, that's a great honor because many of those kids aren't going to go to law school, right? Most kids aren't taking that route. So the information I give them in that moment could potentially stick with them for their life. So I used to grapple with this. I left the class in 2022, and even that 12-year period I was there, so many things shifted between me telling them what the Fourth Amendment said and what was actually true. I didn't even really know what to tell them at a certain point, right? Because you got to remember too, I was in a classroom during his first term too. And I was in a classroom with Stop and Frisk and Eric Gardner and all these things. And again, like, the thing that's very interesting about this too, and I'm sure you can relate as well, is when we talk about this Fourth Amendment issue and what ICE regularly violates, that's always been at our front doors. Breonna Taylor, for example, that's always been in our neighborhoods. But the population that flies, when I'm flying for business trips and things like that, especially depending on the city, I can count how many of us are there. One hand, right? You know, it's very rare. So again, I think what we're starting to see is the white population, the so-called mainstream America is starting to really feel and see what Black America has told them about, not for years, decades, we're talking centuries at this point. And that is why I continue to maintain that the most important historical perspective you can learn is ours, because through that, you're going to get every angle and you're going to get a view of people who came here and were forced to be at the bottom and somehow found a way to this day to push through. But those folks don't want to get, like you said, they don't want to let go of the racial boogeyman. So they aren't able to get themselves out of that political position and to just say, you know what, I do need to hear this person, right? And even beyond that, I maintain that the most important demographic beyond just learning about Black history is listening to Black women, because I got to say it again, but if we follow those voting patterns and trends that they have set, then we definitely wouldn't be here today.
That's right. I mean, it's even as you say that, I'm thinking of the work and witness of Fannie Lou Hamer and so many freedom fighters, that whose shoulders that we stand upon. When we come forward, we're digging even further into the headlines today. We know that ICE agents have deployed across the country to over a dozen of our nation's airports. And we have put this in its proper historical context. But when we come forward, don't you want to know where this idea even came from? I'll give you a hint. Trump's ICE airport idea came after a radio host pitched it on Fox News. We'll tell you all about that, and we'll get Brother Krim's reaction to that and more. You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show right here on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. ICE agents are being deployed to airports to assist TSA workers during the government shutdown.
These guys, they got families like anybody else. They're Americans like anybody else. It's terrible what's happened to them.
That's Black Republican Congressman Byron Donalds, who blames Democrats for the standoff, saying they're playing politics by holding up funding for the Department of Homeland Security over immigration policy. Former President Barack Obama is praising former FBI Director Robert Mueller following his death at 86. President Trump reacted by saying he was, quote, glad, end quote, Mueller was dead, while Obama called him one of the finest directors in FBI history. And singer Brandy will receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on March 30th with Issa Rae and Babyface set to speak. Brandy is known for her hit The Boy Is Mine with Monica, which topped the charts for 13 weeks, along with her roles in Moesha and Cinderella. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Baja Fresh on Thursday, April 2nd for National Burrito Day. Grab a Baja Burrito with chicken for just $5. Fresh ingredients, bold flavor, one amazing deal. Available in-store only on April 2nd, so don't miss it. Eat well, live fresh at Baja Fresh. Valid at participating locations.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey guys, do you want male performance in the bedroom and do you want it now? Get it in 47 seconds or less. For the first time, you can have instant male enhancement. Introducing Nox 47, the topical male enhancement that works in 47 seconds or less. Satisfaction guaranteed. Finally, after years of scientific research, our proprietary formula will allow you to perform in the bedroom like never before. Just imagine that little blue pill on steroids. No reason to settle and wait when you can get instant performance now. Forget about pills and potions that make you wait hours or up to 30 days to work. That's yesterday's news. Nox 47 is brand new. The hottest thing for men. And you don't need a prescription. Call now and get your free supply for a limited time.
To find out how to get Nox 47 for free, call now. 800-677-1453. That's 800-677-1453. Free bottles for limited time. Call 800-677-1453. That's 800-677-1453.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
My name is Tyrone Owens, and this is my home for 23 years that burned in the fire. Me and my wife, Charlene, we had this whole yard decorated every year.
This was the house that sparkled throughout the entire neighborhood on all the holidays. It's a community that will never be the same due to the negligence of a utility company. So I am pretty upset about that.
We were nowhere near being able to rebuild with our insurance. It's going to cost $1 million to put your house back up.
I want to get back to that point where we were before the fire. I'm starting to get emotional, but I'll work through it. LA Fire Justice has been wonderful for us. They're just caring people. We have all faith in them.
Big ups to LA Fire Justice, who's given us hope to rebuild 100%.
Advertisement. Douglas Foster, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. So who's really paying the price? Scores of people dead and counting. Over 9,000 homes burned to the ground. Entire neighborhoods in Altadena gone. The Altadena Eaton Canyon fire is one of the deadliest fires in California history. And Edison's own CEO told investors the company has not identified any other possible source of ignition. In other words, they started it. So what does the man at the top walk away with? Pedro Pizarro took home $16.6 million in cash, stock, and other compensation last year, a 20% raise from the year before. Let that sink in for a moment. A 20% raise, while families in Altadena are still sifting through the ash. Now, Edison will tell you they cut executive bonuses by 40%. Sounds like accountability, right? Wrong. 6 senior executives lost an estimated $2 million in bonuses. On the very same day, the company reported $4.5 billion in profit for 2025. $2 million out of $4.5 billion. That math ain't mathing. That's not a penalty. That's a rounding error. And here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Over $1.6 billion in damages from a previous fire that SCE Equipment started is now being covered not by the company, but by SCE customers just like you and me through rate hikes. The victims of utility failures are being asked to pay for the utilities' failures. Sickening, shameful, disgraceful, reprehensible. You choose your own word. The people lost everything. The CEO got a raise. The company posted record profits, and your electricity bill is going up. As you well know, KBLA Talk 1580 has been out front and unapologetic about demanding accountability for SoCal Edison. But this is far from accountability. This is the system working exactly as it was designed, just not for you. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your KBLA host of A More Perfect Union and White House correspondent, sitting in for our friend and our brother, Jesse Jackson Jr. I am here not by myself. I'm here in good company. Don't you worry. Ernest Krem III joins me. I should say Emmy-nominated producer Ernest Krem III. You know, if I was an Emmy-nominated somebody, I might add to my tattoo.
That's a good idea.
I might do that. But that's not it. He's also a Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Vanguard Award winner. He's a public educator. We love our teachers here. And a modern day griot. I love the work that you do as CEO of Krem's Cultural Consulting, where you help schools and organizations bridge those cultural divides through teaching overlooked historical narratives. And how's this narrative for you? CNN is reporting that this crazy idea to have ICE on patrol at airports. Well, now we know where this idea may have come from. CNN is reporting that Linda from Arizona, a caller on a conservative talk radio show, might deserve the credit or the blame for ICE agents deploying to airports across the United States today. The caller said on the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show, "I think I have a solution to the TSA problem." That's what she said. We need to bring in ICE agents. And co-host Clay Travis said it's kind of a brilliant idea. And that exchange aired on radio on Friday afternoon. President Trump announced his vision for ICE agents at airports. Guess when? By Saturday afternoon. And so you may wonder, well, what happened? What happened in between? You know, Travis appeared on one of Trump's favorite Fox News shows and personally pitched the idea. Now, the White House hasn't commented on whether Trump did, in fact, hear the TV segment and act accordingly, but Trump has a decades-long track record of watching Fox and posting his reactions on social media. What do you make of this? What do you make of the fact that one of the most important jobs on the planet as president of the United States, he over here getting the idea to deploy ICE agents to airports by Linda from Arizona on conservative talk radio?
It's absolutely bizarre, brother, but unfortunately it checks. You know, it's bizarre and it sounds right. You know, like the bar has been lowered so much for what is should be the most important position in our country. Like, you think about what we have come from in the past 10 years or so to this with the president, with the academic excellence, of an Obama and what he had to go through, the rigor academically. And now we have someone like this who is making political decisions that impact so many lives based on conservative talk radio shows like Fox, or networks like Fox News, probably in comment sections online. We can't throw that out there either, right? And on Truth Social, I'm sure they're getting, and we can't just give him all the credit, right? Got a whole team of people, because when he's posting something, it's somebody doing what he's dictating to them. It's a whole team of folks, and they're all talking about these ideas, and he's just the face of it that approves it. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's insane. But I also want to remind people that this is accurate for that demographic and that political leaning. I want to remind folks of some recent history. If you all remember Ralph Yarl, 16-year-old black young man in 2023 in Kansas City, Missouri, went to the wrong home and was shot, nearly killed by a white man at the time who was in his 80s.
Shot in the head. Shot in the head,
nearly killed. The suspect was identified as 84-year-old Andrew Daniel Lester. Now, this was almost 3 years ago. I'm bringing this up because I recall reading an article back then when a relative of Andrew Daniel Lester said all he does is sit in the house and watch conservative talk radio. I live in the Chicago area, not too far from where a young Palestinian child was killed, almost 3 years ago by the landowner who owned the apartment. After the initial attacks by Hamas in October of 2023, he had Palestinian families residing there. He went in the home, shot and killed the boy. And I recall reading an article, and they talked about how when he first met the family, everything was cool. But over the last few years or so, and this was a very young child, so I don't want to misrepresent his age, but I do know he was elementary age. They said he would sit in the house all day and watch Fox News. Like, this type of toxic media has implications. When we think about what he's doing to the media now, and then we juxtapose that to the media that he wants his followers, right, to watch and what he engages in as well, this is what we look at. To me, this is state media. When I would teach about the limitations of the First Amendment, right, or just the limitations of anything in our Constitution, or just wanted to juxtapose what we have here as freedoms and liberties to other countries, I would often show documentaries of North Korea and the state media, the state radio, the intercoms in the home, and the television shows and things like that they had, right? And if I was in a class today, Lord willing, we get through this not relatively unscathed, right? We're dealing with a lot right now. But if I was in a class after this term, I could show clips of what Trump is doing, and it would fit that same mold. This is immensely disturbing, but unfortunately, brother, it's accurate to who we've had in office.
I mean, I double click on all of that. And I really appreciate you taking the time to really connect the dots, because, unfortunately, the news has moved on from the Ralph Yarl story, that devastating story. On one hand, that it happened, but the resilience of Ralph Yarl and his family, the fact that he actually survived that gunshot to the head, and hasn't been, the same. Who would be, after that, but he is moving on with his life. But, again, I appreciate you connecting the dots, because the fact of the matter is, if we were talking about what you just laid out in a lot of other countries across the country, I think we would use the term radicalized. And I don't think we talk about it in those terms here in the United States. And if we do, we don't talk about it that way nearly enough. But, it is worth noting examples of how folks have gotten radicalized, not just listening to Fox News, but being in the heart of the conservative media ecosystem. We're going to talk more about that when we come forward. Plus, Trump rejects the off-ramp to fund the Department of Homeland Security as airport delays worsen. We're going to talk about the politics on Capitol Hill of what is afoot. You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
They say time flies when you're having fun. The founding members cohort is now officially over. Hard to believe. It's been a joy sharing what I've discovered after nearly 40 years of conversations with presidents, cultural icons, and game changers in every field of human endeavor. If you missed the first cohort, the good news is that we're already planning the next one. Now, the seats will be limited, and those on our waiting list will receive exclusive early access and special discounts not available to the general public. So, if you are ready to transform the way you connect, lead, and build trust, do not hesitate. Go to TavishTalks.com and join the waiting list today. That's TavishTalks.com. The next cohort is coming. Make sure you are in the room. I'm Tavish Smiley, and I hope to see you there.
You are the architect of your own legacy, but you don't have to build it alone. I'm Lisanne Basquiat, a board-certified NLP expert and legacy healing strategist. I've built the Shaping Freedom platform to give you the exact tools you need to evolve. From my signature podcast and Lounging with Lisanne meditations to our intentional candles and journals. Stop living on autopilot. Visit shapingfreedom.com to access the teachings and tools you deserve for you and your family. Your evolution begins at shapingfreedom.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for Black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for Black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. Built on what used to be a nuisance property owned by an arms dealer, the BLM Center for Black Power is in the heart of Leimert Park and has opened its doors to everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your bed. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la. Old-fashioned soul.
Where you eating that? Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrimo. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley drops the beat. Come on and talk with me.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm your guest host, Dr. Nicordelai Corte, the KBLA host of A More Perfect Union and White House correspondent, filling in for Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm joined with Ernest Krim III, Emmy-nominated producer, public educator, and CEO of Krim's Cultural Consulting, where he's bridging cultural divides through teaching overlooked historical narratives. Before the break, we were talking about, and you so beautifully made the connection between, where the origin story of Trump's idea to deploy ICE agents to airports across the country, and where that came from. It came from a conservative talk show. And then it made its way on to Fox News, where the president's known to watch a lot of Fox News. And you made the connection between how Fox News may have influenced this president on this matter that is creating confusion in our nation's airports. And the same kind of confusion, the same kind of radicalization, quite frankly, that other frequent Fox News viewers have cited as a part of why they decided to, in some cases, create harm. You cited the case of Ralph Yarl, who was shot in the head by an 84-year-old who nearly killed him, but didn't. And that's a more extreme example, but radicalization can manifest in lots of different ways, no?
Oh, for sure. And, you made me think as well of the fact that we live in America in very segregated spaces, which is by design, right? We know that, of course, cultural preservation is a good thing. To be able to go through different spaces in LA, Chicago, New York, and to be able to get a taste and view of what it was like, or what it's like for this culture, whether it be the cuisine or the museums and so on and so forth. But we're talking a strategic type of segregation, apartheid, that was encoded in this country to be this way, particularly for what we see now, to divide and conquer. It's not just through the lens of cultural preservation, it's divide and conquer. I mean, if I can keep them away from each other and then feed them a narrative of that group that continues to draw a wedge, then I can continue to do the work that I'm doing to profit off of their disarray. I think to what Malcolm X once said, the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. Let's keep in mind that, and this is something we should always remember, the film that is regarded as the first major blockbuster is Birth of a Nation. I've said this before, and I think we have to make sure we keep this in mind, especially in this season. And that was regarded as the most racist film, right? And it put forth so many stereotypes of Black people that, of course, were inaccurate. But for those who live separate from Black folks in segregated towns, sundown towns, right? Mm-hmm. As a matter of law, they believed it to be true. And that was the foundation for the rise of the Klan again. And we're talking roughly 110 years ago. And then the Klan is rising in the 1920s. Like, are we seeing any similarities, y'all? We go back 100 years before that and remember that the foundation for Birth of a Nation was set by actual plays, minstrel shows, which were the #1 form of entertainment in this country. You mean to tell me that the main way that your group, your demographic has been entertained is by digesting fictitious representations of us? It makes me think back to what James Baldwin once said, like, what are you without this creation of the N-word? There has to be something else that amuses you. But that's the thing that we see that continues in cycles to now influence a person who's unfortunately, the most powerful person in this country with regards to the decisions he can make that impact us.
Cruising from one end of Pennsylvania Avenue to the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue, we know that Trump has rejected this off-ramp to fund the Department of Homeland Security as we see airport delays worsen. We know that NBC News is reporting that on Sunday, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, he discussed an off-ramp with President Trump to reopen TSA and end the long lines and the delays at the airport. This would have obviously meant that ICE agents wouldn't have been needed in the first place to be deployed. They're not needed, but his rationale for sending the ICE agents, would have fallen apart. It was also reported by NBC News that this proposal would fund all the departments of Homeland Security except for ICE, which Democrats have refused to support without new limitations on immigration enforcement operations. The White House aides initially conveyed the idea to Trump, and after that briefing, Thune spoke with the president, according to sources, and Senator Thune discussed the idea with Republicans on Capitol Hill. The second source said it's seen by numerous Republicans as a viable path for breaking the logjam, but the president wasn't with it. He wasn't with it. And so let's talk about the politics of this in our remaining minutes. Any predictions, on what Senate Republicans will do to get out of this logjam? I want to remind our streamers and our listeners that Republicans control the White House, they control the Senate, and they control the House of Representatives.
I think back to some of the town hall meetings I've seen recently with constituents in Republican counties and just how visibly and understandably so frustrated they've been. I think that if they don't make a decision soon, we're going to see a lot of that coming to their local offices and local meetings and things like that, because I always bring up this example of being a teacher, and when you have students who are hangry in class and they can't pay attention, right? They want to do the work, but before you teach the child, you have to check in with them. How are you emotionally, socially? Have you eaten today, especially when you have that first class? And we're in a position now where that is actually happening to people across the country. This is not just for Black folks, Latinos. Everybody's dealing with this right now. And I also want to elevate the TSA workers who haven't been paid in more than a month. And the footage I've seen, and pilots having to come together to donate. And I've seen people doing food drives for TSA agents who have nothing to do with this, who are just trying to do their job. People who some of which have been living check to check, who have not been receiving checks, some of whom have still been going to work. A lot of folks haven't been going, but some have still been showing up. So we are at a point right now, and this guy's only been in office for a year and 2 months, where it feels like we are dealing with something catastrophic, and something has to give. Something, because the thing is, while this is happening, the politicians in power, they don't feel the ramifications of this. We, the people, do. Has to be a call for unity at some point.
There has to be. When we come forward, we're switching gears in our next hour. I want to thank Ernest Krim III for joining us here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. You take good care, brother. And I want to remind everybody to check him out on Substack. If you're not following him on Substack, I'm over here trying to read it. It says Krim's Class. Go to Krim's Class on Substack and sign up. You are listening to and streaming a more perfect the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. ICE agents are being deployed to airports to assist TSA workers during the government shutdown.
These guys, they got families like anybody else. They're Americans like anybody else. It's terrible what's happened to them.
That's Black Republican Congressman Byron Donalds, who blames Democrats for the standoff, saying they're playing politics by holding up funding for the Department of Homeland Security over immigration policy. Former President Barack Obama is praising former FBI Director Robert Mueller following his death at 86. President Trump reacted by saying he was, quote, glad, end quote, Mueller was dead, while Obama called him one of the finest directors in FBI history. And singer Brandy will receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on March 30th with Issa Rae and Babyface set to speak. Brandy is known for her hit The Boy Is Mine with Monica, which topped the charts for 13 weeks, along with her roles in Moesha and Cinderella. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Baja Fresh on Thursday, April 2nd for National Burrito Day. Grab a Baja Burrito with chicken for just $5. Fresh ingredients, bold flavor, one amazing deal. Available in-store only on April 2nd, so don't miss it. Eat well, live fresh at Baja Fresh. Valid at participating locations.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The season is over for the UCLA men's basketball team. They lost to UConn Sunday night in the second round of the NCAA tournament. UConn beat the Bruins 73-57. The Bruins finished the season at 24-12. There will be a new national champion in the men's tournament. Florida, the defending national champion, was upset Sunday by Iowa 73-72. Iowa is one of 6 Big Ten teams advancing to the Sweet 16. In the NCAA women's tournament, UCLA and USC have second-round games tonight. USC is at South Carolina, 5 p.m. tip-off on ESPN. UCLA is at home against Oklahoma State, 7 p.m. tip on ESPN. UCLA is going for their 27th straight win. The Lakers and Clippers are on the court tonight. The Lakers are at Detroit. The Lakers are trying to extend their winning streak to 10. The Clippers are at home against Milwaukee. A win puts the Clippers back at 500. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Old-fashioned soul. Where you eating at? Hi, I'm Greg Doolin, inviting you to a special celebration of Women's History Month. Join KBLA Talk 1580 for its annual symposium, The State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live from Doolin Soul Food on Crenshaw, Friday, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., moderated by Dominique DePrima. And yes, breakfast is just $15.80. Come get fed twice. Your stomach and your mind will thank you. We'll see you Friday morning, March 27th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Doolin Soul Food on Crenshaw for the State of Black Women in LA. Broadcast live only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
You are listening to and streaming the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I am your guest host, Dr. Nicordelai Corte. You can normally find me here on KBLA Talk 1580. You can find me here from 4